It's mid-January, it's 2021, we're in lockdown. I haven't seen another human being in weeks. I'm not saying that I'm mad, but you're my only friend. My God, no offense, but that's tragic. This week, we're scraping. Hey, Stillson, will you be my friend?
Oh, Candace! Wow! You look great! I have to say, that is one hell of a head of hair.
And something else. Oh yeah, I discovered that the cabin, the historic cabin at the back of the boat, was a lot smaller than I originally thought it was. Safety first. We're going to spend the week scraping all the steel and hopefully getting as much as we can painted. Gotta protect your eyes, your lungs, and your head. See? Perfectly safe. About a month ago I was talking about leaks in this part of the boat, but it's been dry for quite a while. So we had some rain last night, and I've come in here and I've noticed, as I've cleaned up this area, there was a lot of mold growing here. I've bleached it and cleaned it up and got rid of it, but here we have three little stripes of dribble of water. So let's see where it's coming from. I think I know where it's coming from, and it's a simple fix. So let's do some measuring. We're at the roof and the dribbles are coming down at 90. So here we are, 90 centimeters from the end. So this is what holds the boom. So I put silicone there. And if we look underneath, it's already ripped up and there's a big crack in there. With this being here on the roof, holding the boom, obviously the boom, it's actually holding the more or less most of the weight of the boom, and this steel is clearly not up to muster to, and then just welded it directly onto the steel. There's no support underneath. So it's no surprise that the weight has pulled the steel apart. Hello. So I put a tiny little cut at the end of this so that I can squeeze it right in, and I'm going to pump this stuff into that gap.
Just fill it up. There it goes in.
Ooh, with luck, that should be good. Okay, when you look here, you can see that it's going down the sides. So it's, you can just see. Yeah, so this thing is separating out, so it's actually not necessarily leaking, because this is welded on as an afterthought. Interesting, interesting. of course, eventually that'll have to be removed, and an alternative will have to be come up with. Whee! Last one. Let's get on with it. This is the bulkhead. We've right up to the end of the boat. So this will be the last one to scrape. Okay, we're gonna have to take this off. Yeah. It looks like there's only one person who can do this.
Hey, Kenneth, you've been on your own for quite a while, haven't you?
Wow, look at you go. The layout, by the way, is now different. So I've shifted all the coal over, as you've seen. But I've also shifted boards and cleared the run down that side. I want to try and explain something. Two things I've learned. Here, we have a nice little curve. And then we have a cut-off piece. Came around up here and lines up perfectly here, and it's flat, and you can see where you've got the steel would have rested. Every third one is the same. These went up and then arched over the gap and joined up with the corresponding one on the other side. This would have given a frame for boards to be placed on top here. So imagine now boards going up here, and this is how you closed off the cargo hold. So I'm thinking in theory that if you have the structural support reinstated, you then can strip the curtain wall, as it were. The roof will remain standing, and then replace the curtain wall. Does that? I don't know if that makes sense. So once you support the roof with these, put these back in, support the roof, and then remove the walls and replace them by cutting them out and re-welding new walls in. Don't know, just spitballing here, but it's just something I've noticed. However, something more poignant. This is the bulkhead at the back of the boat. There's a bulkhead down at the other end, and that bulkhead is made up of steel and rivets, whereas this bulkhead is welded in. So this bulkhead is new and it is not an original to the boat. But then I noticed we have a lot of corrosion up here and a little teeny leak, which I have to fix. We have decades of rust. So this whole section has to be tidied up. I also discovered this, and this tool is used to make fenders. So you get your rope and you shove it in and you knit fenders with this. So I'm going to keep that there. By the way, this was entombed. This was always here. This was entombed by the wall, and obviously it was put there by Chris Cable at some point, and then it was forgotten about and was lost. But here's the important point about this. But this continues. It is cut here, but you can see where the original deck used to be, and these are new ribs, angle iron, and this is new, a new deck, and the engine is right bang here, and that door was the original bulkhead. And that means that the cabin in there was the living quarters, and a family was raised in that space. A family was raised in here. Having said that, this is twice the space that you would have found in a narrowboat, and families were raised in narrowboats as well. I bought this, and I'm going to put it onto the angle grinder. Incidentally, this is the shield that goes on here, and there is a plate that's there, it's somewhere around the boat, and then you have these little screws that go in. So the plate was still in place and the screws were still in place, and the screws worked themselves loose. So as I was angle grinding, those screws must have fallen out, hit the disc and shot off like a bullet. It's yeah, quite surprising I'm still alive. But it means, unfortunately, until I find those screws or an equivalent, or the equivalent screw, I cannot connect this. I mean, I could always use the beast, but I'm going to be wire brushing. So I've got my degreaser. This is why you can't spray foam this boat. The tiniest of leak. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.